So sit back, relax, crack open a cold one, and get ready for a ride, a wet and wild ride. So this weekend's box office, in first place we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and they'll open up with 60 million. Then we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with 11.5 million, Elemental with 11.3 million, No Hard Feelings 7.5 million, and Transformers Rise of the Beast 7 million. So Indiana Jones, it's its first week, and a lot of people, or a lot of stuff that I've been reading, has seen it's quite a bit of a disappointing opening. What do you think about that?
It's horrible. It's Flash-esque. This is truly awful. I know that the worldwide opening weekend was 130 in total, so 60 million from the US and then 70 from international markets. Its budget was about 329 million. Advertising and marketing, all that stuff was about 130 to 140. So the break-even point is about 850 million. And it's just not going to make it. Granted, it has another week ahead where it's a little bit quieter, so I think the legs will be fine on this. But with Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer really knocking at the door for this one, I don't see any hope. It's very likely that this Indiana Jones is the lowest grossing Indiana Jones movie in America, which is crazy because, you're talking like the 70s.
Yeah.
It can't even beat that. Like, I'm not adjusting for inflation. Like, this is like at that time, which is it's just insane to me. But it also shows that I don't think anyone really cared or needed another Indiana Jones movie. And plus, Harrison Ford is 80 years old. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
And Disney tried to capitalize on, the nostalgia of it, and it just didn't work. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, under 40% drop. That's great. It's going to keep chugging along. Crossed 600 million worldwide. So wherever it goes from here, it's still done just very impressively. Elemental. That one under 40% again. This one's doing really well. I'm actually super happy that it's doing real well because it's kind of showing Pixar, if you're making a good movie, people are going to keep showing up to watch it, or they're going to spread the word. Despite the bad opening, it's doing very well. As the weeks go on. At the end of the day, I think it is going to have a better total than The Flash. I don't know about worldwide. I don't know what it's doing in the international markets, but at least domestically, I think it's going to beat it. No Hard Feeling, 50% drop. I think for an R-rated comedy, that's a good thing. Comedies, horrors, they always have really sharp drops, and they don't really get much traction. So 50% drops is good. Transformers surprised me. I had that down at I think 6th projected for the weekend. Had it around a 50% drop, looking around 5 to 6 million. So 7 million here, 40% drop for it. It's just good. It's people are actually showing up for it. It's at 136 in total, and I think it's around 380 worldwide. It's not good. It's still losing money for the studio, but I feel like everything's losing money for the studio right now. There's just no room to eclipse the 500 million mark. I am going to go a little bit below this because, there's some movies that need mentioning. Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken, 5.2 million opening. What? I didn't even know that movie was coming out. The marketing is just awful for that. And The Flash, 67% drop again. Lost 1,500 theaters. That is, in the third weekend, the worst drop for a DC movie to lose that many theaters in its third weekend. So now it's only playing at 2,700 theaters. Clearly, theater owners, exhibitors, they did not want that movie to be played in there. Just people weren't showing up for it, which is fair enough then. You are running a business. So that made 5 million third weekend. First weekend, it opened up to 55 million.
And now it's at 5.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think it's I read that it might be the most might lose the most money out of any movie for Warner Brothers in history.
So bad.
I know, and we just heard all that hype about it being the best movie ever and top 5 comic book movie, and Tom Cruise called the director, and Stephen King's like, yes, it's actually really good. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it went wrong. One last one I will mention, Asteroid City, had the highest opening for a Wes Anderson movie last weekend, but it drops 58%. Huge drop in its second weekend. You could argue that it's, a smaller art housey, very kind of niche kind of film audience there. Or you could argue that it's going to be releasing on digital in about a week's time. And we'll get to that soon because I have some thoughts on that. But you could either point to one of those things. But yeah, that's not really... it's not a promising sign considering it released in more theaters over the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's... Box office has been crazy for the last couple of months. So it's still interesting.
It's about to get crazy as well with 3 big boys coming out this month. I'm not that surprised about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Just based because we saw what the Rotten Tomato score was when it aired at Cannes, and it was sort of negative, and pretty much as like the premieres and stuff came out and reviews started coming out, the reviews weren't getting that much better. Yeah, it's fresh now at 68%.
That's crazy.
But still, I think just like those first wave of
and it was there for like a month and a half, so people saw it and were like, oh, I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah, so that doesn't really surprise me that much. I probably would have put it around that mark anyway.
Yeah.
But if it didn't have that, then I probably would expect somewhere close to like 80 to 100.
Yeah, I mean,
personally.
this didn't have to be a flop or a box office disaster. It's the fact that its budget's $330 million.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like, it doesn't look like it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I actually wonder where they put their money to it. Probably Harrison Ford's final indie paycheck, maybe.
Oh, yeah, they would have paid him handsomely to come back.
Yeah.
I'd say at least $30 million.
That and probably the production in terms of locations. Those are probably the
locations. Yeah, I know it was shot a bit in the UK, and they had to pay like some sort of like millions in terms of tax subsidy for like filming there or something like that. So I know that contributes to it. But still, 329. That's one of the most expensive films of all time.
Yeah. Spider-Verse. That's cool. I mean, it's still doing very well at the cinemas as well.
So nice to see.
It's coming up to a month now, or over a month since it's come out, and it's still like in the top 2. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Elemental, I guess the word of mouth is literally carrying this movie now because when it first came out, we all had our doubts, but then obviously word of mouth has started to spread. There's a bit more marketing for it now, and people are going to go see it as well.
Yeah.
And it's school holidays here in New Zealand, so. Not that we contribute much, but it's a little bit. But yeah, no, the box office standings for this week is pretty much roughly how I had it, except for No Hard Feelings. I didn't expect it to be that high.
Yeah.
I thought it would probably be just outside of the top 5.
It's good to say. Oh, yeah, I saw that, by the way, during the week. I forgot to mention that one. Yeah, no, it's a good, solid comedy. We need more kind of comedies with, A-list stars in it. I reckon, yeah. So it's good to see it doing well.